Bought my Simplicity new in 2018, and now it's June of 22, and I've never changed the blades. So I bought a new set of XHT blades off Amazon for $31. They've been sitting around a while, and I've not even checked to see if they're the right blades. That's going to be one of the first steps, but first, before we do that, we need to figure out how to get under the mower. There's a few different ways you can do this. You can use car ramps, you can use homemade ramps, and you can even take the deck off and do it. I even have a video where I took the deck off, and I was considering that option. But before we do that, I was going to try one thing. And that one thing is to use a trailer. This is a tilt trailer, and it gave me the perfect amount of clearance to get under here. I could even use my impact wrench. However, as soon as I started taking this video, the guy that I sold the trailer to showed up about 2 hours early, so I was not able to do it with my tilt trailer. But that did give me the opportunity to try it with my new Tractor Supply 5x8 trailer. It's got a drop gate on it. That gate does not give me as much clearance as that tilt trailer did, but it's still going to be enough to get under there. Not enough to get under there with the impact wrench, but with as tight as these nuts are, I don't think I even could have got it off with the impact wrench.
So 5/8.
Now that we can get under here, let's check and see if these blades look like the ones that we need. And they do, so on to the next step. In order to break the two bolts, you are going to need a breaker bar, so I went to Harbor Freight, picked one up, and then I attached my 5/8 inch socket on there, and let's get to work. This is your first time doing this, you're going to notice the blade turns as you turn that bolt, so we got to stop the blade from moving, and what most people use is just a block of wood. Just a quick tip here, once you break that bolt, go ahead and take your socket and put it on a ratchet. It'll save you a lot of time. Now as you're removing everything, keep a close eye on the orientation of all the pieces. For instance, the blade and then this washer here. This washer was beveled and I couldn't exactly remember which side goes against the blade. It's a little bit obvious because one side's grass stained, but as you're doing this, just keep an eye on it. One interesting thing I found being a first timer of taking these blades off is a lot of videos I watched had star patterns in the blade. These are just round, so I thought that was interesting. And another thing my manual did mention, when you're putting the blades back on, air lifter is always up and then the blades down. That way you don't put these on backwards. I'm going to flip this around here, and it would look a little bit silly if you did put it on backwards, but it can be done. And for being on here for 4 years, they didn't look like they were in too bad of shape. I'm going to try to sharpen these and see if I can keep them as a spare. Now let's get to the other side, and do not forget your block of wood, which I did here. Alright, there we go. As you can see there, the retaining bolt on this side was much harder to break. Just taking a quick middle note here that bevel is facing towards the retaining bolt head. While I had the blades off, I should have scraped off all this grass, but I'll wait to do that till my next mow. Now that we have all the blades off and we got our new blades unpackaged, we're going to compare the two to make sure they're exactly the same. Everything looked good, so let's get these new blades on the mower. You want to start off by hand tightening the retaining bolts. Then we want to go ahead and grab a ratchet and get these things tightened up. I held the blade in place by hand, but you can also use the block of wood like we did in the removal process. Now if you have a torque wrench and you want to get these things to spec, my manual says 50 to 60 pounds-foot torque, but I didn't have one, so I just tightened it up as much as I could. And we're going to repeat the process on this side. I had a little bit less room to work with, so it was more of a challenge, but we eventually got it done. Now, one of the things I was a little concerned with was if the blades needed to be facing the same direction. I think when I took them off, they were, but when I looked it up, certain types of decks do require it to be kind of timed up, but in this case here, there's space in between the blades, so they don't have to be timed up. Yeah, and one thing I should have mentioned in the beginning is remove your spark plug boot from your spark plug. They say that you can cause an accidental startup by turning those blades, but I'm not so sure if that's true or not, but better safe than sorry. And here's a quick test run to make sure the blades don't fly off. If you made it this far, think about liking this video, maybe subscribing, and let me know what you think down in the comments.